Hi everyone, I am Sabina Persson from Castellans, and you're so very welcome to the videocast CX Minutes. It's 6 questions, 6 minutes, and it's all about customer experience. This is a series of episodes where we bring you actionable insights, practical know-how, and personal stories from top professionals, all in just 6 minutes. And I'm so happy to present my guest today, which is Sam Chandler from Customer. Hey Sam, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I can already tell we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Me too. It's great having you here. So we're going to jump into the questions, and they're going to be about innovation and strategy. And my first question is actually, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. So I'm Sam Chandler, as you mentioned. I am at Customer, and I head up our commercial customer success team. So we're building out a motion for our high potential, low spend customers that helps them use our products better, but also just hopefully be better at CX.
Mm,
But yeah, before that, I've built a variety of customer success organizations at different
mm,
places. Before that, I built CX departments for startups. I've advised companies from teeny tiny all the way to fancy Fortune 500. And then I just realized a few weeks ago that I've been in customer service in some shape, way, or form for over 20 years, which is a terrifying thing to realize, but it's
mm.
good. Good.
Yeah, and you're so young still, so you
Oh,
got
plus
50
you
years
think
to
it's
go,
the
right?
lighting. It's the lighting. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think customer service is somehow in my blood.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. In your DNA.
My DNA, literally,
Yeah.
like I think I learned it from my mom. That's where,
Oh,
when it was
wow.
time to go and get a job, like
Mm, mm.
she recommended like a store that she had worked at, and I did that out of college, and here we are today. Isn't it funny how ways lead on to ways?
Yeah, absolutely. So, is there a tool or a framework that you can't live without?
There is. There
There is.
is. For I'd say the last 10 years, I've been
Mm,
obsessed with the Hooked model by Nir Eyal. And he's got several books about this. This
mm,
is kind of the thing he's known for, but it's
mm.
all about forming habits. And
Ah,
usually, yeah, exactly, yeah. And
mm,
it's usually something that's like a methodology that product designers use and
yeah.
behavioralists, but
Mhm.
frankly, it works really well in the CX and the customer success.
Ah,
Uh,
ah.
we tend to in this neck of the woods, we tend to forget that our services and what we offer to
Mm,
customers, that's a product that should be a
yeah,
product
yeah.
of an organization. And so,
Mm,
I like to think of it as what if we did not bombard our customers with emails constantly
mm,
until they either shut us off or just stop responding? Like, what if we designed an experience that made them want to engage with us? So,
ah,
all of the organizations that I build, engagement is the foundation of everything that I do, one way or another. It doesn't have to be
yeah.
talking to me.
Mm,
You don't have to
mm.
schedule an hour-long meeting with me. You can if you want, but like it's also just about engaging with the product,
Yeah.
engaging with the resources at hand, and
Mm,
hopefully making lifelong friendships. That's the ultimate goal, right?
yeah, absolutely. Oh, good answer. All right. So, how do you balance automation and human interaction
Yeah.
or the
So
human touch?
yeah, yeah. So here's a hard truth. I'm gonna
Mm.
lean in. We're gonna lean in real close because everybody needs to hear this. Your customers don't actually want to talk to you most of the time.
Yeah. So true.
Okay,
They want to live
okay.
their life, right?
Want to live their life. And
Yeah.
if you really think about it, regardless of what product you are supporting,
Mm, mm,
if we have to reach out to the company on a
mm.
regular basis
Yeah.
to use that product or enjoy that product, we're probably not doing a great job there.
Yeah, yeah, so true. So
And
true.
so, and so you know, whether it's any part of the CX experience, whether it's success or support or
Mm,
anything along the way, every interaction where it's a support interaction or they need
mm,
assistance, it's actually it's a deflector. It's a deflection
mm,
moment, and so we try to mitigate those as much as we can. Sometimes that is going to be talking to a person.
yeah,
Sometimes it's going to just be an automated element or a step in your product that makes it easier to use.
mm,
And so a good healthy mix of those is really what it is about.
mm,
There's no right answer. It just depends on your journey, your customer, the
yeah,
issue at
yeah.
hand. But what I would say as a general rule of thumb is, you know, there's big preference and little preference. The little preference, you know, for a customer being, I want to use this kind of support channel
Yeah.
or interaction channel, whether
Mm,
it's I want to call somebody, I want to chat with them, I want to, you know, subscribe to their TikTok. Like
mm,
that's a preference there. The larger preference though is I just want this to work so I can get on with
yeah,
my day. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
those are the things where it's like if you can craft your experience knowing that this will be the fastest route to your
Mm,
customer's answer, then you should design your experience like that and leverage every tool at your disposal along the
mm.
way.
Got it. Yeah, such a good answer on such a short time. Good job. All right. So, how does your organization approach customer-centric innovation?
Yeah. So I always like to think back to Walt Disney. That sounds kind of weird,
Mm,
but my favorite customer journey mapping story. So journey mapping, you know, in CX, the idea of literally like going through and taking the
mm,
journey that your customers take.
mm.
So true story, Walt Disney, when he was building his theme parks, he stood at the front gate and he had a bag of popcorn and he started walking, he started
Yeah,
eating the popcorn,
yeah.
and then when he was done, he said, okay, we need a trash can right here. And
Mm,
true story, to this day, anytime that you go to a Walt Disney World theme park, the distance between trash cans is how long it took Walt Disney to eat a bag of popcorn. Like,
yeah.
I, it's true, and
Yeah.
I verified it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
have people every time they go to Walt Disney. I'm like, can you go
Mm,
like look at the trash cans? And so yeah, it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
thing. But it's
Wow.
true. And so
Mm,
to me, that is just the most wonderful example of literally walking in your customer's shoes. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I encourage every organization that I'm a part of, every organization that I advise,
Mm,
put yourself in your customer's shoes. And I know that's really easy to say, you know, put
yeah,
yourself in your customer's
yeah, yeah,
shoes.
yeah.
But truly, like take the
Mm,
journey
mm,
yourself, see where there are friction points, see
yeah.
where there are areas where you can make the experience
Mm,
better.
mm,
And then the kind of the other side of that equation is something that we call a customer pain index. So
mm,
it's like it's not even just taking the journey and making sure that all of the parts add up,
mm,
but where are you causing your customers grief that
yeah.
you don't necessarily realize? And so that's
Mm,
something that, you know, it's not even just the CX, like the customer facing folks, it's literally everyone in the org. How
yeah.
can you get everybody together, working together in an orchestrated fashion
Mm,
so that
mm,
you know, even if it's a billing request, you know, can
mm,
you shorten that? Is
mm,
if it's, you know, an email address that
mm,
somebody reaches out to, is it going to the right place?
mm,
How long, you know, is an outage affecting your customers?
mm,
So it's not even just, you know, like, oh, well, our uptime is XX%. It's how long does that represent of your customers not
mm.
being able to, you know, help their customers and to
Yeah,
do what they
yeah.
need to do for their business? How much revenue are you costing them?
Mm,
So that's what I would say. You know, it's one thing to say, you know, we differentiate ourselves on customer service, but it's quite
Right.
another to actually understand what that means for your customers.
Mm, mm, absolutely, yeah. All right. And if your budget was, completely, let's just pretend you had unlimited budget. What is one idea that you'd love to try to improve customer experience?
So you know what's really funny? I flip this on its head, and I
Ah,
usually think not if I had an unlimited budget, but what if I had zero budget at
yeah,
all?
and just had to choose one thing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because, if we think about it, that's what most organizations have, especially in
Right.
the support realm, a zero
Mm,
dollar budget, because they're
mm,
constantly fighting to show that they're revenue generating and not a
yeah.
cost center. But the other reason that I try to think of it like that is
Mhm.
because I think about think about McMansions, which is, like those really massive,
Yeah.
ridiculous looking
Yeah.
houses that
Yeah.
I think it's a very American thing. But like, it's just these styles that are thrown
Yeah.
together. I sit there and I think about how expensive that was to build
Mm,
and how how inexpensive like good design is.
yeah.
So,
Mm,
I think about that in the framework of, designing your CX experience
mm,
because
yes.
if you just kind of take away all of the tools, all of the things that you think you need and
Mm,
just get down to the nitty-gritty,
hmm.
thinking about how that would change the experience, you would really only focus on like, okay, what do I need to do now?
Mm,
What is the
yeah.
next thing that I need to do? How am I interacting with my customers? And like I said, the reality is most of the time we don't have an unlimited budget.
Yeah.
When we think of it in that way, then sometimes we tend to overspend on things that we don't need to.
Yeah.
So I always recommend whether it's a fledgling startup who literally just recognized what CX means,
Mm,
or whether it's a multi-conglomerate, it's like what can you take away
yeah.
and still have like the essence of what you need. So I don't think of it in terms of tools. I think of it in terms of what do I need to do to get these customers to the next step? What are they
Mm,
trying to
mm,
do? Sometimes it's reconfiguring the journey. Sometimes it's
yeah.
reoperationalizing the process, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's adding a tool that grabs a little bit of technology and makes you a little bit more efficient and
Mm,
helps you do the things that you didn't really have time to do before.
mm. Oh, what a good answer. Okay, so final question. Like I said, this is so hard for me to just stop and go to the next question. I would love to just, explore even more. But there's a last piece of question for you, and that is, and maybe we're already touched upon that actually, because I think what you said here was so powerful. But what is one piece of advice that you'd share on this?
Okay, so
Ooh.
this is what I specifically, so the startups that I work with, this is
Mm,
specifically what I tell them.
mm,
Do not automate yourself out of your differentiator. That when you're a startup specifically, there, especially in tech,
yeah.
you're kind of either the disruptor or the disrupted. And
Mm,
so, with most startups, you have this ability to go into the market and really make a splash and really change things. And most of the time, that includes differentiating yourself on the level of support and service you're giving. And
mm,
so Paul Graham says this in a really beautiful way. Do things that don't scale is what he says. And
ah,
usually,
mm.
like it's so funny because that feels like the antithesis of most of
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah.
But in this statement, what he's
Mm,
getting
mm,
at is, you want to make sure that you're not just focusing on like automations
yeah.
that keep you away from your customer and
Mm,
don't really
mm,
serve their purpose and don't like it's the same thing that the big folks are doing, the big guys are.
mm, mm, mm,
So it's like if you have the ability to add a little special something, do it in
mm,
a personalized way, you should keep doing that as long as you can. And then you
Mm,
realize it actually scales a lot longer than what you think. And
mm,
those are the kinds of things that you should build into automations within your CX platform, especially because, today it's so easy with the tools and the
yeah.
technology we have at our disposal to make a
Mm,
personalized experience
yeah.
using the metadata that you already have about the customer, and they expect it. Like they expect
Mm,
that you use that. So
yeah. Yeah.
that's always my piece of advice is, don't go, throwing AI at things and deciding to fire all of your staff. Everyone's realizing that was a terrible idea. They're backing off. So yeah, just be
Mm,
really intentional and
mm,
see what needs to be automated and what needs to stay the same so that you can go be human. That's what I would say.
mm. Beautiful. Oh, thank you. Good answer.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you. You're such a great cheerleader. I'm like,
oh,
oh.
thank you so much. All right. So, I mean, Amy, sorry, Sam, it was such a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for bringing, I mean, the energy and the insights, and of course, for your time spent with me. And I think that's it for this episode.
Thanks. I was like I said, it's so nice to be here. We could have talked about this for hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, I look forward to many more conversations about CX and automation and
Yeah.
innovation and strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
And
do
Walt
that.
Disney World trash cans. Why
Oh,
not?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.